Hello, everybody. It's Mrs. Pound, and I'm back with more about water from chapter 4.1. Today's topic, 4.1.7, is on ponds and lakes. And our objectives today are going to be to compare features of ponds and lakes and explain how ponds and lakes form. Now, the importance of ponds and lakes is pretty similar to what we talked about with rivers and just surface water over the last couple of days. Since it's fresh water on the surface, a lot of the things are very similar as far as what we use the water for: recreation, food, transportation, those types of things. Also, the pollution of the water is very similar as well. And we do need to remember that ponds and lakes are a gift from God for us to use. So, one thing that is important to know is lakes are not always deeper than ponds. They're also not always bigger. So, whether you call something a lake or a pond, um, it just depends. Sometimes there are ponds that are bigger and deeper than lakes. And so, I don't really know who chooses whether it's called a pond or a lake, but that's just what it was named. Ponds can form when glaciers recede. We've talked about kettle ponds and lakes before. And so here we see a glacier receding and we see water around it. So maybe this will form a pond of sorts here, or a chunk of ice will be left. When rivers erode and change course, we can see over here. Here is a pond or a lake that is formed. Here is one. This is called an oxbow, actually, and we can see that the it looks like this has changed course and left some of these. Also, when a bend in a river is cut off from the main channel, we can see this getting very narrow here. This will probably get cut off eventually and form one of these lakes, kind of like that's over here. And we call this an oxbow lake, okay, because it forms a bow. So that's called an oxbow lake. And that will eventually straighten out this channel more. Also, when landslides block stream flow, we can see a stream back here. There's a landslide that has taken place, and this could potentially cut this off and form a pond behind it. Also, with the assistance of beavers, alligators, strong winds, or meteorites. Here we see a beaver at work putting up a dam. Uh, and so behind this is a beaver pond. My parents have one of these in their yard uh, because a beaver decided to come along and dam up the stream next to their house. As far as alligators, I really don't know what alligators do and how they do this because we live up north. But if you live in an area with alligators, perhaps you know what they do to the landscape. Strong winds just blowing things, and meteorites can um, cause debris to fill in. And lake formation is similar to pond formation, but it requires a greater amount of force. So, very similar processes. So, our objectives were to compare features of ponds and lakes and explain how ponds and lakes form. So, don't forget your 5 questions, and we're getting really close to the end of the chapter. I think we have 2 more sections left. So, I will be back with more about water.